As she sat watching the world go by, something caught her eye. It wasn't so much its color or shape, but the way it was moving. She squinted to see if she could better understand what it was and where it was going, but it didn't help. As she continued to stare into the distance, she didn't understand why this uneasiness was building inside her body. There comes a time in life when darkness appears, not as an impersonal force, but in the form of a person. A narcissist. They arrive with charm, illusion, and deception, seeking not just control but dominion over your very soul. You feel the weight of their manipulation, the sting of their betrayal, the exhaustion of their relentless pursuit. But hear me now, when a narcissist tries to break you, God Himself steps in. When dealing with a narcissist, one of the most powerful ways God intervenes is by revealing the truth. A narcissist thrives in deception. They weave illusions, constructing a false reality where they are always right, always the victim, always superior. They twist words, rewrite history, and manipulate emotions, leaving you in a state of confusion and self-doubt. But there is something they fear more than anything else: the truth. God is truth itself. He does not dwell in deception, nor does He allow lies to prosper forever. When a narcissist tries to destroy you, God moves in ways that expose what has been hidden, no matter how deeply buried. At first, this revelation may come as a whisper, an uneasy feeling in your soul, a sense that something is not quite right. Maybe it's a contradiction in their words, a fleeting moment when their mask slips, a small lie that doesn't align with what you know to be true. These are not coincidences. They are divine nudges, signs from God, urging you to look closer, to see beyond the illusion. As time goes on, these moments of revelation become undeniable. Patterns begin to emerge. You notice the inconsistencies, the way they manipulate conversations, the gaslighting tactics they use to make you question your own memory and perception. It may feel disorienting at first, even painful, because accepting the truth often means confronting the reality that the person you once trusted, perhaps even loved, is not who they pretend to be. But here is where God's intervention is most evident. He does not simply show you the truth and leave you to handle it alone. He strengthens your mind, sharpens your discernment, and removes the blindfold that the narcissist so carefully placed over your eyes. It is no accident that you begin to see through the facade. The very fact that you are recognizing their manipulation is proof that God is working in your life, lifting you out of deception and into clarity. God reveals the truth through external means. He allows situations to unfold in a way that exposes the narcissist's true nature to others. Perhaps someone else, independent of your experience, comes forward with a similar story. Maybe the narcissist's lies start to unravel publicly, or they become so overconfident in their deception that they expose themselves without realizing it. It could be that a conversation you were never meant to hear falls into your lap at precisely the right moment. These are not random events. They are divine orchestrations designed to set you free from bondage. But what happens when the truth is painful? When the realization dawns that the person you thought you knew is incapable of real love, real empathy, real remorse? This is where faith is crucial, because God never reveals the truth to harm you. He reveals it to heal you. He does not want you living in a cycle of manipulation, in a space where you are constantly questioning your worth, your sanity, your reality. The truth may hurt at first, but in time, it will be the very thing that sets you free. Many times, people resist the truth because it disrupts their sense of normalcy. It's easier to believe the narcissist's lies than to accept that someone you trusted was never truly on your side. But truth is not meant to be comfortable. It is meant to be liberating. And God, in His infinite wisdom, knows that freedom requires seeing things as they are, not as we wish they would be. When God reveals the truth, He is inviting you to step into His light, to break free from the chains of deception, to stop excusing behavior that is toxic and destructive. He is calling you to trust Him over the narcissist's words, to believe in what he shows you rather than what the manipulator wants you to believe. Truth always wins. Lies may persist for a time, deception may cloud vision for a season, but ultimately, nothing hidden remains hidden forever. God ensures that. When a narcissist tries to destroy you, their power is not in their words or their actions, it is in the illusion they create. But when God steps in, He shatters that illusion. He pulls back the curtain, revealing everything for what it truly is. And when you finally see the truth, you will realize that their power over you was never real to begin with. You've felt exposed, haven't you? Like prey caught in the eyes of a predator, watching their every move, knowing their attack is coming but unable to escape. A narcissist operates with precision, calculating how to manipulate, how to wound, how to strip you of your peace. They make you question your worth, your reality, even your own sanity. They create storms, then blame you for the rain. They break you, then mock your pain. They isolate you, making you feel as though no one will understand, as though you are alone in the battle. But hear me now. You are not alone. You have never been alone, because even when you cannot see it, even when you do not feel it, God is shielding you. Protection from harm does not always look the way we expect. When we think of divine protection, we imagine something immediate, something visible, a sudden wall built between us and our enemy, an unmistakable force pushing away the one who seeks to harm us. And yet, more often than not, God shields us in ways we only recognize in hindsight. Have you ever looked back on a situation and realized that what you once saw as rejection was actually His redirection? Think about it. When you went on that rejection, was it redirection? Or was it redirect that the person who walked away, the job that didn't work out, the door that slammed shut, wasn't punishment, but protection? Perhaps you prayed for the narcissist in your life to change. Perhaps you begged God to soften their heart, to open their eyes, to remove their cruelty. And yet, instead of changing them, God removed them. You may have seen it as abandonment, as loss, as unanswered prayer, but now you are starting to see the truth. God was not ignoring you. He was rescuing you. He was removing you from their grasp before the damage could become irreparable. And sometimes His protection is not through distance, but through revelation. He allows you to see their true nature. He allows the mask to slip, their lies to unravel, their intentions to become clear. It may feel devastating in the moment to realize that the person you trusted, the person you loved, the person you believed in, was never who they pretended to be. But that revelation is not meant to break you. It is meant to free you, because you cannot heal from something you do not recognize as harm. God shields you in ways both seen and unseen. Perhaps He places someone in your life who speaks wisdom, someone who gently tells you that what you are enduring is not love, not care, not kindness, but control. Perhaps He orchestrates events that force you to take a step back, to see things from a new perspective, to wake up to a reality you had been unwilling or unable to acknowledge. But let's be honest. Protection, it often feels like loss. It feels like unanswered prayers, like confusion, like abandonment. You wonder why God is allowing you to endure such pain, why He isn't stopping the attacks, why the narcissist seems to be winning. But hear me, just because it hurts does not mean He is not shielding you. Sometimes He allows the storm to rage, not because He has forsaken you, but because He is using it to move you. Think of the Israelites trapped between Pharaoh's army and the Red Sea. To them it seemed like disaster, like God had led them straight into destruction. But what they did not see was that the very thing that looked like an obstacle would become their salvation. The waters that seemed like a dead end were about to part. And when they did, when they walked through to the other side, the enemy that had pursued them, the one who had enslaved them, controlled them, sought to destroy them, was swallowed by the very sea they had feared. What you see as a dead end may be the beginning of your deliverance. The pain you feel now may be the very thing that ensures your freedom. The narcissist's hold on you is not stronger than God's hand upon you. And when God is your protector, no force, no deception, no scheme against you will ever succeed in the end. So, if you are in the storm, if you feel like you are fighting alone, if you are weary from the battle, remember this: you are not fighting alone, you are not unprotected. The very things you see as suffering may be the signs that God is already at work, shielding you in ways you do not yet understand. And when the time is right, when His plan has unfolded, you will look back and realize He was there all along. There is a moment in every battle where exhaustion sets in. The weight of manipulation, the slow erosion of confidence, the constant dance between their charm and cruelty, it wears on you. A narcissist does not simply take from you, they drain you, bit by bit, day by day, until you question your own worth, your own voice, your own reality. But in that place of weakness, where your spirit feels fractured, something extraordinary happens. God is not absent in your suffering. No, He is working in ways unseen, shaping you in the very fire that was meant to consume you. What the narcissist intends for your destruction, God is using for your transformation. You may not see it in the moment, but every battle you face, every hardship they place upon your shoulders, is strengthening something deep within you. Your resilience, your wisdom, your faith. There are seasons when it feels like the breaking point has come. You sit in the silence of their absence, left with nothing but echoes of the damage they inflicted. You replay conversations, dissect their words, wonder if it was truly as bad as it seemed. And that doubt, that lingering, gnawing doubt, is the final trick they try to play on you. Because if they can make you believe that you are weak, that you are the problem, that your pain is insignificant, then they still hold power over you. But let me tell you something. You are not weak. You are not broken beyond repair. You are not who they tried to convince you that you were. God allows the storm not to destroy you, but to forge you. He does not remove all suffering from your path, because there is strength that can only be found in struggle. Look at those who have endured great trials. Do they not carry a wisdom, a depth, a power that others do not? That is what is happening to you. In the moments you think you cannot go on, He is building you into someone who not only survives, but overcomes. Think of a tree that stands in the midst of a raging windstorm. It bends, it sways, it creaks under the force of the gale, but its roots are gripping deeper into the earth, anchoring themselves in ways that would never happen on a calm, peaceful day. When the storm passes, that tree does not fall. Instead, it stands stronger, firmer, more unshakable than before. That is what God is doing in you. The narcissist thought they could uproot you, weaken you, leave you fragile and vulnerable, but instead, they have only pushed you closer to the one who strengthens you. You see, strength is not about never feeling pain. It is not about pretending you are unaffected, that their words did not cut you, that their actions did not leave scars. No, true strength is in what you do next. It is in choosing to rise when everything in you feels like collapsing. It is in reclaiming your identity, your voice, your purpose, even when they tried to strip it away. And here is where the true miracle happens. The very pain they caused will become the foundation of the wisdom you carry forward. You will see manipulation for what it is. You will recognize deception before it takes root. You will know the value of peace because you have lived in chaos. And you will never again mistake love for control, kindness for obligation, or attention for true care. One day, you will look back on this battle and realize that while they wanted to break you, they only revealed what was already within you, the unshakable, God-given strength that nothing and no one can ever take away. And when that day comes, you will not just be free, you will be unstoppable. When you find yourself on the receiving end of a narcissist's cruelty, it often feels as if the world has turned against you. They twist reality, manipulate perceptions, and turn others into unwitting participants in their deceit. You may feel utterly alone, watching helplessly as your character is smeared, your intentions are distorted, and your truth is drowned out by their relentless lies. But let me tell you something. God sees, God knows, and in His perfect time, He acts. The pain of false accusations is unlike any other. It wounds not just the mind but the soul. You long for justice, for the world to recognize the truth, for those who believe the lies to finally see what you see. It is infuriating, exhausting, and, at times, deeply discouraging. How can a person so skilled in deception continue to manipulate those around them without consequence? How can the world be so blind? But listen closely. Justice is not always immediate, but it is inevitable. A narcissist may win for a season. They may successfully paint themselves as the victim while casting you as the aggressor. They may manipulate situations so cunningly that even those closest to you begin to doubt your truth. You may find yourself abandoned, left to pick up the shattered remains of your reputation while they move forward as if nothing ever happened. It is in these moments that the weight of injustice can feel unbearable. But do not be deceived. God is not idle. You see, God is a God of truth, and He does not allow deception to reign forever. He allows the narcissist to spin their web not because he is powerless to stop it, but because he is allowing their actions to serve a greater purpose. Every lie they tell, every manipulation they orchestrate, every false narrative they craft, these are the very things that will lead to their undoing. They believe they are in control, that their deceit will carry them indefinitely, but they fail to understand a fundamental truth. No lie can stand against God's justice. There will come a moment when their mask begins to slip. It may not happen in the way you expect, nor at the time you desire, but it will happen. The narcissist, in their arrogance, believes themselves invincible. They believe they can outmaneuver consequences, that they can deceive indefinitely without repercussions. But pride comes before destruction. Their lies will catch up to them, their manipulations will be exposed, and the very people they sought to control will begin to see through their facade. Perhaps you have been tempted to seek revenge, to clear your name by any means necessary, to fight their deception with every ounce of your strength. But I urge you, do not fall into that trap. The narcissist thrives on reaction. They want you to become desperate, to lash out, to exhaust yourself, trying to prove what they already know to be true but will never admit. They want you to become so consumed with clearing your name that you lose sight of what truly matters. That is how they win, by keeping you trapped in the chaos they create. But you are not called to fight on their level. You are not called to match deceit with deception, manipulation with counter-manipulation. No, you are called to stand firm in truth and let God handle the battle. You cannot fight on your own. He will vindicate you, and when he does, it will be undeniable. The very people who doubted you will see. The ones who turned against you will realize their mistake. The truth that was once buried beneath layers of deception will rise to the surface, and when it does, there will be no more arguments, no more justifications, no more excuses. And what of you? What happens when that moment of vindication comes? Do you rejoice in their downfall? Do you seek to humiliate them as they try to humiliate you? No, because by then you will have grown beyond it. By then you will have realized that your worth, your identity, your future, none of these things were ever truly in the hands of a narcissist. They may have tried to destroy you, but they never had the power to do so. They may have tried to turn the world against you, but they could never turn God against you. So hold fast. The lies will not last. The deception will not endure. The justice you seek will come, not by your striving, but by God's hand. And when it does, you will not only be vindicated, you will be free. Life has a way of placing us in situations we never expected, and sometimes it brings people into our path who seem to exist solely to break us. A narcissist is not just someone with a difficult personality. They are a force of destruction, feeding off control, manipulation, and chaos. When they set their sights on you, their goal is simple: to diminish you, to make you question yourself, to strip you of your joy, your confidence, and, if possible, your very identity. But what they fail to understand is this: when they attempt to tear you down, they are not just working against you, they are working against something far greater. They are working against a divine plan that cannot be undone. You see, what a narcissist intends for harm, God uses for transformation. He takes what was meant to shatter you and turns it into the very force that strengthens you. But beyond that, he does something even more profound. He redirects you. When you feel lost in the aftermath of their destruction, when you stand in the ruins of what you once thought was stable, that is often the very moment God begins to move. It is human nature to cling to what is familiar, even when it hurts us. We convince ourselves that if we try harder, if we love deeper, if we sacrifice more, maybe, just maybe, the narcissist will change. Maybe they will see our worth. Maybe they will finally give us the love, the respect, the validation we so desperately seek. But they won't. They can't. Because a narcissist is not driven by love. They are driven by power. And as long as you remain within their reach, they will do whatever it takes to keep you beneath them. So God moves. Sometimes he moves subtly, whispering warnings into your spirit, urging you to step away before greater harm is done. Other times he moves forcefully, tearing apart the illusion, exposing the truth so undeniably that you can no longer ignore it. And sometimes he allows the narcissist to do exactly what they intend, to reject you, to abandon you, to betray you, so that you have no choice but to walk away. It may feel cruel in the moment, as if God is silent, as if he is allowing you to suffer. But what if I told you that this is not abandonment? What if I told you that this is his rescue in disguise? When the narcissist is finally removed from your life, you may feel lost. You may stand in confusion, asking why God would allow you to invest so much time, energy, and love into something that was never meant to last. But what you must understand is this: where you are now is not where you are meant to stay. God is leading you somewhere greater, somewhere safer, somewhere where you can thrive instead of merely survive. Look at history. Time and time again, the greatest transformations come not through comfort, but through crisis. Joseph was betrayed by his own brothers, thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, falsely accused and imprisoned. But in every step, God was redirecting him towards something greater. What seemed like punishment was actually preparation. What felt like injustice was actually positioning. And in the end, Joseph did not just survive, he rose. He stepped into a purpose far greater than anything he could have imagined. All because what was meant to destroy him became the very thing that directed him toward his destiny. And so it is with you. When the narcissist casts you aside, when they discard you as if you never mattered, as if your existence was nothing more than a tool to serve their ego, do not grieve for too long. Do not dwell in the pain of their rejection, because their rejection is often God's redirect. What you thought was love was never love. What you thought was security was never safe. What you thought was meant to last was only ever temporary, a stepping stone to something far more powerful. You may not see it yet. The path ahead may still feel unclear, but rest assured, you are not walking it alone. The pain they caused will not be wasted. The tears you cried will not unseen, and the wounds they left behind will not remain open forever. God is moving, working in ways beyond what you can perceive, guiding you toward a future that is not just free from the narcissist, but free from everything they tried to make you believe about yourself. There will come a day when you look back and see it clearly. You will see that their cruelty was the very thing that set you free. You will see that losing them was not a loss, but a deliverance. And you will see that everything you endured was not for nothing. It was leading you, shaping you, strengthening you for the life you were always meant to have. So, when the narcissist walks away, let them go. When they try to destroy you, do not fear, because what they intended for your ruin, God is using for your rebirth. And in the end, you will not just survive, you will rise. When you have been wounded by a narcissist, the pain doesn't simply disappear overnight. It lingers. It seeps into your thoughts, your emotions, your very identity. You might wake up feeling heavy, as if a shadow of their influence still clings to you. You replay conversations, wondering what you could have done differently. You question yourself, your worth, your decisions. But let me tell you, this is not where your story ends. Because no matter how deep the wound, God is in the business of healing. Healing does not come all at once. It comes in layers, in moments, in revelations. It is the process of undoing the lies that have been spoken over you, the process of restoring what was stolen. God does not simply patch up a wound, he restores what was lost in the process. When a narcissist tries to destroy you, they do not just attack your circumstances, they attack your sense of self. They take your kindness and call it weakness. They take your love and use it as a tool for their control. They twist reality until you no longer trust your own mind. But God is the ultimate restorer. He will not leave you in a broken state. At first, healing might feel distant. You may pray for relief and wonder why the pain still lingers. But understand this, God does not rush the process because he does not offer temporary fixes. What he does is deeper. He will take the very thing that was meant to harm you and use it for your transformation. The hurt you feel today will not be a permanent scar, but a mark of resilience. A sign that you have walked through the fire and come out refined. There will be days when you don't feel strong. There will be moments when you wonder if you will ever feel whole again. But healing does not mean forgetting. It does not mean pretending it never happened. It means that what once had power over you no longer controls you. It means that you can speak about your past without bitterness, that you can walk forward without looking over your shoulder, that you can trust again, not because you are naive, but because God has given you wisdom. One of the hardest parts of healing is forgiving. Not because they deserve it, but because you deserve peace. A narcissist will never take responsibility for the damage they caused. They will never apologize in a way that acknowledges the depth of their harm. And so, you may wait for closure that will never come, wait for remorse they will never feel. But God does not want you to stay stuck in waiting. He calls you to release them, not for their sake, but for yours. Because as long as you hold on to what they did, they still have power over you. Forgiveness is not saying what they did was acceptable. It is saying you will no longer allow it to control your future. As you heal, you will notice a shift. The things that used to trigger you will no longer hold the same weight. The fear that once dictated your actions will fade. The identity that was shaken by their words will be rebuilt on something unshakable. Because your worth was never in their hands, it was always in God's. Perhaps the greatest part of healing is realizing that you are no longer the same person. The version of you that was manipulated, deceived, or broken no longer exists in the same way. You have been strengthened, sharpened, renewed. What once felt like destruction was in truth transformation. God has used the very thing that was meant to break you to make you unbreakable. One day you will wake up and the weight will be gone. You will look in the mirror and recognize yourself again. Perhaps not as who you once were, but as who you were always meant to be. And when that day comes, you will understand. The narcissist did not win. They never could. Because God was with you all along, guiding you toward healing, toward wholeness, toward freedom.